What is up, everybody? Today I just wanted to make this short video about how to navigate the fretboard the easy way. I was having a conversation and a friend of mine is going crazy learning all these scales and memorizing all the notes of the fretboard. While I do think that's a good thing to do, it made me realize that I cheat a lot of it, and I definitely have a lot of tips and tricks on how to navigate the fretboard without really thinking much. I also want to mention that this video is I want to make this video as a stepping off point, so you guys can just find something you think is neat here and then go look at other people's videos. You can probably explain it better than me. I just want to let you guys know all the tricks and hacks I kind of use to play all over the fretboard. Let's get right into it by talking about box. Not the fun kind, but the guitar kind. You know, it's no surprise I'm going to bring up the minor pentatonic scale. It's kind of the fundamental guitar scale that everybody should know. And the great thing about guitar is if you learn one scale, you know them all. So the major scale is the same here in A or B. It's the same shape, so I'll be covering the things I talk about in E. But know that I am tuned down a half step. So the good old minor pentatonic scale. What is it? Well, it's a step and a half on the low string, starting on the 12th fret, and a step on the A string, then on the D, then on the G, missed a string there, then a step and a half on the B, then a step and a half on the high E. So you get something that sounds like this. Pretty standard. Now, that's great because you can solo in just about any key if it's sort of rock music. It's a good fundamental outline and a good place to start. So we know the minor pentatonic scale. Can we play it in major? Why, yes, of course we can. But if you take the third interval and you raise it up, the third interval is what makes it minor. So if you raise it up, it becomes major. And you don't have to stick with the major interval. Sometimes that can sound weird in some songs. So just by moving that one note, you can get something that sounds like this. to sound more like this. A little brighter note quality. All these tools are about conveying ideas. So if you play a minor pentatonic scale over a pretty happy song, it's gonna sound a little weird and a little too rocky. So throw in that little curveball of playing a major pentatonic or a minor pentatonic scale that's been changed a little bit, makes it sound a lot more appropriate. The next thing I'm going to talk about is was a big stepping stone for me is scale fragments. I have a video about this, breaking up scales into 2 string shapes. Essentially, you can take fragments of your major and minor scales and attach them onto our foundation of the minor pentatonic. So that can sound something like this. I kind of used a lot of scale fragments there. My favorite one is on the high E string, and after this last note on the pentatonic scale, if you just follow the dots, that's the next 2 boxes in what people call the cage system for those 2 strings. So you can do some pretty trick stuff just by knowing that that major scale fragment comes right at the end of the pentatonic scale on the high E and B strings. So you can, just from that one thing, just from implementing scale fragments, you can get stuff that sounds like this. It kind of unlocks a bit more of the pentatonic scale for you. Now, that was one of my favorite scale fragments going up. Let's talk about one coming down. The one I use the most coming down is just an octave down of the high E and B strings on the pentatonic scale. Just knowing that they exist behind the 12th fret here kind of opens up a lot of doors, because after this you can also think, oh well, I have my octave scale fragments up here, I can just add those scale fragments right in front of the end of the pentatonic scale, which now I'm playing like this is the high E and B strings, but on the D and G strings. It's right there. So now I unlocked 2 more boxes of the pentatonic scale, and I got some more horizontal movement. So now I'm not just stuck in front of the 12th fret. So as you can see there, I just took this This string's a little tricky to bend. I took that and just moved it down an octave. So you can take all your same stuff that sounds good up here and just play it down here. If I could pick it right. Boom. More versatility unlocked. So we got our foundation. We messed around with the major. we messed around with scale fragments. I feel bad because I left out the amazing flat 5. Probably the first thing I should have talked about. This turns our minor pentatonic scale into the blues scale. Just by adding a note, right in between the 4th and 5th intervals. You can get something that sounds a little more interesting. So just by adding this one note, instead of going 1, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, boring, you can go 1, 3, 4, flat 5, 5, 7, 8. Adds a little bit of spice. The flat 5 isn't found naturally in any scale besides like some weird minor scales, so definitely don't dwell on it. If you're taking a solo, it sounds kind of weird, but as like a passing tone for some faster phrases, it sounds super wicked. What I mean by don't dwell on it is it doesn't play well with most chords, but if you're playing something like sounds really good as just kind of a passing tone. The next thing I want to talk about, using scale fragments going down. All I know going down is that I have this. If I just move it down one, I have a whole step box on these 2 strings. Like before, I can octave this shape. And now, instead of playing everything above the 12th fret, we are down to the 7th fret, just by octaving and knowing that there's a box behind what some people call the pentatonic equator. I know John Mayer says that. Feels natural for a lot of people to just plant their finger here, but now you got some tricks to kind of break out of that. Another thing is chromaticism. Every note you play doesn't have to sound good. I know Guthrie Govan talks about this, but he talks about how notes in the scale should land on strong beats. I can't think that hard when I'm trying to make a solo up on the spot, okay? But what I can do is I can give it a whirl. So we did all this work to make epic solos that sound in tune, in the right scale. Then you're going to want to play something a little out. You'll hear people say that. I want to sound out. Here is out. Okay? Just play notes next to each other, going up or down. Probably as a guitarist, you're going to want to use that flat 5th that we were talking about earlier. So 4, flat 5, 5. But even that, you can just take these 3 fingers, go like this, with that same thing. I guess, really, you just play notes next to each other. Chromatic scale. Boom. Done. I think that's about all I have to say, really. I I could go into like inversions and all that, but what I talk about in this video is going to be 90% of the stuff you're gonna play, and a lot of people sweat the 10%. I do not. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed this, let me know somehow. Leave your questions, comments down below. I'll see you guys next time.